Hi, welcome back to Bartending in the Sticks. I'm Gina DeLeo-Stamey. This is episode 3. We have
Mike Rothmeyer.
And today we have Neil Stuchal.
Yep, you got it. Nailed it.
She's Gina DeLeo-Stamey.
Which I already said.
You did?
I did.
I missed it. Okay.
I did. Cool. It's all right. It's all right. Owner of Dad's Diner and longtime friend and Anacortian.
Anacortesian?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah.
Anacortes,
Resident.
Resident, thank
Resident.
you. Yes, yes. Lives here in Anacortes.
I do. I do.
Tell us more, Neil, about where'd you come from?
How'd
you get here?
I was born and raised in Wisconsin. Moved out to Washington State in '96. Mm-hmm. My culinary career kind of coincided with my music career, and I kind of danced around the valley, I guess you could say, cooking and playing music and being a singer-songwriter. And then as my time passed and I found Anacortes, it made things kind of a no-brainer to stick around. And I was fortunate enough to find a really good business partner, and we opened up a barbecue trailer. And then we opened up our brick-and-mortar restaurant a few years later. So that was 2011 and 2013. So now we're celebrating over 10 years of business, and we're moving into the world of alcohol, which...
That's what brings you here.
Yes, which brings me here. We were a pretty simple barbecue trailer and breakfast, lunch, diner, but now we've stepped into doing booze. And Mr. Rothmeyer here has been a huge proponent in helping us get there. So...
we'll talk about service bars.
Absolutely. But that was my brief story.
No, that's good. That's good. We'll go some further into that too.
Sure.
That was a great self-introduction too. So what we're having here today, we're not making a cocktail. We're having a shot of Fernet Branca and a beer. And we're going to bring Jay in. Jay's my technical support producer.
Friend, jack of all trades.
That's right.
All the things.
Great customer.
Former podcaster.
Also
mention his podcast.
That's right. He has Parts Counter Gurus. If you want to find out anything about, anything happening in the news as well that's related to vehicles of any kind, they do a great podcast, and I think you should check it out. Anyway, here's a cheers to everybody.
The Chef Shifty.
The Chef Shifty. I like it.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. Cheers.
So we normally, like I say, we would be talking about how to prepare a cocktail here. And do you need a hand?
I don't. I was actually just looking down there because I need that towel.
Oh. Messy,
but thank you, because I
messy.
don't know how to open a beer. I'm just so thankful for all your help.
I know, but all your you don't have those really long nails like some people do.
Yes, I would be asking for help then. I can't do anything with those things. They're kind of cool looking, but boy, I can't even button my pants.
They're hard. That's a great example. Hard to bartend with too, I find. With a bunch of long fake nails.
Absolutely.
Yeah, in my experience.
Really?
I have never had that experience, but I would assume that would be really difficult.
No, I've never had those, but
Damn, I was ready for a really good story.
No, I was faking it.
Yeah.
So Gina's having a ghost fish. Gina's having a Ghost Fish Grapefruit IPA. It's a gluten-free beer. Gluten-free. And she's drinking it out of the Pen Cove glass. I'm lucky enough to get a Pen Cove. Neil has one too. Pen Cove is one of the it's a sad story, one of the breweries that's closing. And my heart goes out to the owners and everybody who worked for them there because they made some great beer. And sorry to see you go. So... we were going to talk a little bit about like the fact that this isn't a cocktail. It's traditionally the bartender's handshake. Oftentimes, if you go into a bar and you order a shot of Fernet and maybe not a beer, maybe a beer, the bartender might be thinking to themselves, "This is probably somebody from the industry. Could be front of the house, could be back of the house, but bartender's handshake is kind of how it goes, but I like how you put it, Neil. You think of it as a
the Chef Shifty.
Chef Shifty.
It's on our drink menu as that. Actually, it's a PBR tall boy and a neat shot of Fernet. It's pretty much been my go-to staple for about 10, 15 years. So
excellent.
Yeah.
And that's a real common one too. I find like a PBR, a High Life, or and you like drinking it with Coors Light,
sure.
And just a lighter beer. So yeah, I've got the Double Mountain Kolsch going on, which is a really good pair with that. And Neil's got the Boundary Bay. Hey Dane, saying hey to Dane, name dropping.
Cheers,
You
Dane.
know how I do.
I do.
Anyway, now Dane has to watch this because I said his name in it.
Right, that's true.
But it's going well
And
with
it's
it.
a delicious beer. Absolutely.
All right. Also, we should note, I guess, on a somewhat different subject, you said you were playing music, and a common, industry thing for people to be is musicians or actors.
Sure.
Yes, I don't get paid, but yes.
I think the preferred term is thespian, but we'll keep it as actors.
Yes, thespian for sure.
I've
I'm the
used
pretend
that term.
bartender and pretend thespian.
Very good. And I had something there and I just lost it.
Sorry.
It's okay. No, it's all right. Maybe it'll come back to me. But, I was just talking about, right. Yeah. So many people start off in the industry while they're trying to pursue their dreams and don't always, until a certain point,
Right.
take it as a career or think of it as a career. What do you guys think about that? Like, was there a time where you were trying to pursue something else and then you just realized, well,
Here I am.
I guess I could just be the best, server, bartender, cook that I can be.
Do you want to feel that one first, or do you want me to take it first?
I feel like you got something brewing right there, so
Well,
go for
I
it.
can be honest and say that there was definitely that divide in the road where I was really working at being a professional musician. But I think the one thing that we all realize is that being professional at what you do and loving what you do are completely different things.
Yes.
I was grateful enough to have a gift at being able to sing and play a little bit of guitar and also be able to cook really well. So for me, it was kind of like a half and half thing. I actually have tattoos on my body that actually enshrined that moment where I decided that it was going to be food over music. Mm-hmm. And that to me, I think is that stage where I was like, do I really want to be on the road? Do I really want to be traveling? Do I really want to work as hard as I do in a restaurant, but in a strange place all the time? Or do I really want to work hard and then go have drinks with my friends and then go home and sleep with the person I love and wake up and have breakfast at home and all of that? And I think that's coming from a small town in Wisconsin. That's where my heart really was, because I can always pick up a guitar and play. I can always do that. And especially in a town like Anacortes, mm-hmm. which definitely all about the arts and the musicians, I could get up and play anytime, and I'm sure people would come to watch. But I think that's the thing for me, is I felt more of the connection with the community mm-hmm. and with my life cooking than I did playing music. So mm-hmm. that's where it kind of turned the corner for me.
Well
put.
said. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I remember what I was going to say now, because you just said, yeah, but I don't get paid. So Neil and I could share with you the tens of dollars we've made playing music.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've made tens of dollars.
Yes,
sometimes we lose $10 going to play a show.
Right.
But it's not.
Well, and that is what it is. It's not mm-hmm. like you have to make money every time, but it's nice if you're spending all that time doing something and you're able to get some form of abundance, which you get an abundance of joy and an abundance of magic that happens when you're doing something that you absolutely love, right? And I guess the restaurant industry has that as well,
sure.
for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Sure, right.
It also has moments of where you want to throw a fit and storm
absolutely.
out and all the things, right? I guess anything kind of comes along with that, but I love how you had that moment of I want to be home.
Yeah.
And you've settled in a small town, and
totally.
And you've been an amazing addition to this town.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're an amazing person. But yeah, there's I love that the three of us, like, you're both musicians, and I like I like singing and dancing.
I remember
Yes,
teaching
she
your
does.
son bass lines on a bass guitar back when he was 6 years old. I mean, that's the kind of community we live in. Right?
Yes.
When I don't know if you ever knew that we all went to a show together about a year ago, and
Yes.
he was of age, so it's the first time I'm ever hanging out with your son of age, and we just hung out and had
We
a
can
great
say
time.
Dylan Gear. Dylan
Sorry,
Gear.
yes, Dylan Gear. But
Dylan.
Name dropping. He's now actually in a band.
but
It's called Collins Beach.
I like
Collins
it.
Beach.
I want to check it out.
Yeah.
We were sitting on the back of my car eating dicks after the show. Not Dick's driving, sorry.
Welcome to the Northwest.
Yeah, right?
Where everybody wants a bag of dicks.
That's right.
Everybody
Everyone loves
wants
eating
to put
dicks.
dicks in their mouth.
Anyways,
Who doesn't say those things?
See, now I'm
I mean,
red.
so no, that. Just, yeah. I mean,
I almost died, and I was like, okay, wait, are we going to just let that slide?
we have to.
Sorry.
Oh, great. And, in Southern California, it's In and Out. And, we used to kind of have some innuendo with In and Out.
Right.
But it's no, you can't even get close to talking about dicks, which is delicious. I love dicks.
So, anyways,
Okay, sorry. Woo!
just to finish the story without embarrassing myself any further, we were sitting in the back of my car, and he was telling me how much, seeing me and hearing my music and watching me start this restaurant and everything like that inspired him. And I was like, man, like I never knew, like you even noticed, like, and he's like, you don't realize, like when I was a kid, I'd come into your place and eat your food, and like just how cool it is to have somebody that did it all, and how inspiring it was. And I was really taken aback by it. It kind of like cemented my whole like, am I doing the right thing? Did I make the right choice? And to have somebody that was just a child that I was just trying to be kind to and teach a few bass lines to, and years later, 15 years later, to have that conversation after having a couple beers and watching a great show and eating Dick's Drive-In was really remarkable. And I feel like that's what made me feel good about making that decision.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Awesome.
So we should mention too, if you go to episode 1, you get to hear the story about Neil naming his band to spite Mike. We won't go
true.
into that on this one because you can go watch it on episode 1. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That you could also
It's a good
thumbs
story.
up and subscribe to.
Absolutely. I have.
Hey, all right.
That's the only way we let you on the show.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was the first real fan, so here I am.
So tell me, let's get into the service bar.
Sure.
Tell me what you're doing. What's the kind of like? There's a word for it. What am I missing? Your concept.
So we are. We're not a bar. We never have been. We never wanted to be. We really believe in that don't shit where you eat mentality, right? Mm. So we love to go have, the idea of having a couple drinks after work is a nice thing, right? But what we realized, and I think a lot of people in this industry are seeing now, is the margins are all drying up, and it's really hard to run a small business. And what we noticed is if you can add any value to your menu, like you can do it through alcohol, you can do it through a lot of different things. So what we decided was, we were going to take that step, but we wanted to keep it as keep our identity with that as Dad's Diner, which in simple terms, what we do is we take comfort food and really simple things that are nostalgic growing up as a child in Wisconsin or the South, like my business partner, or anywhere, and just putting our own twist on it. Like if your dad makes you a cheeseburger, it's going to be different than when your mom does. And, there's probably a little more grease, a little more fat, whatever. But
that's funny.
The whole idea is just to kind of keep it that family environment, but also giving a lot more of our touch to it, I guess is the best way to put it. So with that, our cocktails are all mostly batch because we don't have the availability of a bar behind us the way, as I've heard in your episodes, how Washington restricts people from operating in that way. And what we had to do is basically create a service bar, which is a kind of out of the way, low key thing. All the bottles have to be out of the way. People can't see.
So yeah, it's a specific license. It's a specific license that costs less than a regular one. And then then there's rules like you say. Yeah, you can't see the spirits. Kids can be up at the bar.
Absolutely,
as long
it's
as
a service counter though. It is not a
service
bar,
counter,
a food counter.
Right.
That's correct. The way you have to word it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the reasons I wanted to dive into this with Neil too is just that I would love it if there were some people from out of state watching this and just realizing, or actually no, people in state too, realize how restrictive our rules are in this state. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to take over your story or anything. Nope. Keep going. But I not recently. It was last summer. Last summer we had someone coming in and getting upset at Union that we wouldn't allow kids in the bar or in the beer garden, either one. And I wasn't there when the complaint came, but I think it made its way onto a complaint online or something like that. But the person, and I have a sign up there and it says, as per Washington, what is it? What are the laws called? WAPs? No, WA. Anyway, there's a number. I said, according to this. And so I even cited the law. And he came in and started giving the third degree to the bartenders, going like, what law? What law says that kids can't come in here? What? And I wish I would have been there.
Is this person from Washington?
Man. No, I'm sure they weren't.
Okay, yeah.
I'm sure they were from another state that makes a lot more sense.
I grew up in Wisconsin, and you could bring your kids into any bar at any point in
California,
time.
too.
Yeah, I mean, it was no big deal to see people sitting there getting shit-faced with their kids sitting on a bar stool next to them. I mean, it's the truth.
I was never getting shit-faced, but I would go in for my early morning cocktail after I got off work at 6 a.m. with Gabe in the baby carrier, and put him in the booth between, his mom and I. Yeah. And we'd have our post. It was just a post-shift drink, Yeah. It was not, we weren't getting wasted. It was just having a post-shifter at, again, 7 in the morning because we got off work at 6.
Right.
But, so yeah, back to that. Again, that's a big deal, right? The difference between the kind of licenses is it's a tough navigation, and you're scrutinized pretty heavily by the liquor board, so they make sure that you're doing it right.
I feel like this kind of carries over into all government, at least in Washington. Everyone is trying to, the government is trying to make it idiot-proof, and it's impossible. I mean, we live in the human condition every day, especially being in this industry.
So true.
Yeah.
Right? So in that, you can make it idiot-proof, but there's a lot of people out there opening businesses that are not necessarily seasoned professionals. Mm-hmm. People that are craftsmen or people that really care about what they do. I'll digress for just a minute, just saying that we've had to change a lot of how we operate in our business due to the health department and how they operate.
That's exactly what I wanted to get to, too.
Okay, well, then if I'm helping you segue,
the segue was perfect.
I'm glad, because truthfully, it has become this thing in my mind that everyone's so overly cautious about how things are done, because if one person knows how to cure pastrami or bacon, then everyone else thinks they know how to do it too, which that's not the case.
Right.
And I feel that the same thing comes with libations. The same thing comes with any kind of facilitation of the restaurant industry. Is there are certain people that know when they open a restaurant or a bar or whatever, they know exactly what they're doing, and they have it calculated, which, to be honest, is what we're going to start seeing popping up more and more, is these restaurant groups opening more and more places. Mm. And you're going to see the small mom and pop places die off. But what I see and what we're seeing now is that the restrictions are just getting tighter and tighter, so those conglomerates or those big companies can make it easy, right? And then all the other guys kind of go, well, why are you making this so hard on us? And everyone kind of feels a little picked on, you know? And I feel like in that, there's perseverance in owning a business and trying to run a business. You have to realize that they're going to change things on you and pull the rug out from underneath you at every possible chance they can. Mm-hmm. And I think that's, part of enduring and what do you need to do in owning a business. But also at the same time, I don't think it needs to be that difficult sometimes either. Right. So what we do is just like everything else in life is you see people that go, well, why do they get away with that? And it's because either they're ignorant or they haven't had the right training in whatever they do, but they still get away with it because it's within the legal rights. And I feel like where we sit in this world of the restaurant industry is either you know what you're doing and you can get along, or you pay people to get you to go along. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And let's get specific about that kind of thing.
Yeah,
like, you just mentioned pastrami or curing bacon, and we've struggled over at Union with pickled eggs, and also our Caesar dressing. So
Sure.
These are things. Oh, can I jump real quick? I want to go right back into these specifics after the other interesting rule in Washington is that there's no such thing like in California where you could just go to a bar and it's just a bar. And if you want something to eat, it's going to be like chips. If you're lucky, they do have to have something like that.
Right.
But they don't have to have like full on meals, full on, or at least they didn't when I was there. And granted, that was 1999. When we were all
You're a little outdated.
When we were all partying to Prince.
25 years ago.
It was pretty
25 years ago.
No, Gina was dancing in 1999 for sure.
What can I say? I've been dancing since I was out of the womb.
We all know the Prince song. So.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah. That's right. So anyway, I just think it's an interesting point as far as bartending in the sticks goes, is that you really can't operate, and maybe we touched on this a little bit in one of the episodes, but you really can't operate a bar without being a restaurant.
You can't.
So it's so much of a interesting focus, to have you as our first guest who, is really operating a restaurant, and that's what we're talking about, a lot of food stuff. But you kind of can't really have a bar up here, especially in the non-metro area where you're scrutinized so much more than in Seattle or in any metro area. Like I see stuff like when I go down there, and I would never, I'd never call anybody on it because I'm like, that's rad, you guys can do this,
right?
But I might go into a bar and just go like, they don't offer you a menu, they don't show a menu,
right?
I'm sure you could ask for one,
sure,
but it's not like that's not what's going on. They actually are operating like full-on bars, and I'm sure they are in compliance, basically. But they're getting away with stuff that we could never get away with up here, I don't think.
Well, and I feel that a lot of it is dependent on your community. Like even in the city, there are boroughs, and there are people looking out for one another there. So. Yeah, maybe so. Because there's less people to go around checking the balances of everything in Seattle, like it's a big city.
Yeah.
Versus around here, it takes 2 or 3 people to hear that you're doing something wrong, and there's somebody on the horn with the liquor board going, "Hey, these guys are not doing things right." So I feel like
$53 TV dinners.
Yeah, well, and I think that's exactly. I think that's the thing though is. Freedom to be a craftsman in the food and beverage world is really difficult nowadays. Because that's kind of where all this was built off of. Like restaurants, bars, all built off of people being craftspeople and like just like a woodworker, just like any craftsperson. Right. You really put a lot of time and effort into things, and I don't think people realize that, and it's not necessarily our point. As a craftsperson to say, well, look at how hard I'm working. It's more like I just want to give you this so you can really appreciate it. Because that's where the minutia is. The minutia in people going out to eat and going out to dinner, it's 5% people that are really care about what's going on. Where 80% of most people just want to get fed and in out the door and have a decent experience, be treated like a human being. But there are people like us, I say all 3 of us, could go to a restaurant or go anywhere and really have that want to have an experience, that really want to experience what these people are offering, because it's just lost on a lot of people. And that's okay. Like, I don't feel like
yeah.
I don't feel like we're out to do business to impress everyone. Actually, my favorite quote, and this comes from my business partner, and I think he heard it from someone down the line when we were getting open, but is I don't know what the key to success is, but the key to failure is trying to please everyone.
Absolutely, and that's just the life in general, but yes.
Right, but I think that to me made me realize that I just had to give my best and give my heart and do the best I could. And that's what we're doing to this day. I mean, that hasn't never changed. And that's why we're still in business 10 years later.
Yeah.
But, say that quote again, please,
okay.
And tell me if you can say who said it.
Okay, so my business partner, Fletcher McLean, is the one that told it to me. I'm not sure where he got it, but it's something that kind of drove us through it. And the quote is, I don't know what the key to success is, but the key to failure is trying to please everyone.
Excellent. Oh, and how well does that work in, behind the bar too? I mean, or with your bar program? It's the same thing, right? Like
it is the same thing. I mean, you're going to have, there's just the gamut of people that are going to come in, right? Who are looking for a completely different experience. And that's actually what kind of keeps the job fun too, because you're always going to have a different experience with your customers, and it's not always the same person that's looking for the same thing. Like if you always had like super picky connoisseurs at every moment, that would get like, you wouldn't want that all the time. That would get tiring, and then you don't always have, what the Karens or the, whatever you I want to go the opposite way, but
no.
As,
I like it.
But there's, normally it's just people who just want to come in and have a good drink.
Yeah.
Some good food.
And be treated like a human being.
Absolutely.
My favorite part of that whole quote is the first sentence is, I don't know the key to success.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's my favorite part of the quote, because I think humility in this industry is something that has long been forgotten. There is so much ego. There is so much,
oh my gosh,
how tout on how you do things, and, how you do stroke your own ego. I mean, I check myself a lot, because sometimes I think I'm doing the most amazing thing ever, and then I go, well, wait, does it really matter? Like, does any of this matter? But that, I don't mean to get like existential, no, but like truthfully, like I do have to have that part of it, because at the end of the day, it's like, do people want to buy it, and do people want it? Because it's not a bet, and that doesn't matter what I think. It matters what they think.
Well, yes and no. I think you're absolutely right, but I do think that it does matter what you think of it, because I think that there's what you're doing and the love you put into what you're doing. It's totally different if I go into some place and somebody is in the kitchen and they're just slopping things up and they're pissed off at life and pissed off at their job. What the food is going to come out like, and I'm sorry, this is the Reiki practitioner in me, right? Yeah. Like, the energy of the dish is so different than, and same thing with when you're, a bartender. If you really care about what you're doing and you're having a good time and you're talking to people, as opposed to if you absolutely hate life and hate your job and hate everything about it, there's, you don't want to hire somebody like that, right? You want somebody who actually is who takes pride in what they do. So you want a little bit of that.
Sure.
Humility for sure, but you definitely want somebody who takes pride in what they do. Like, I feel good about this.
The labor of love.
And
the
not
craftsman.
Everyone's going to love it, but I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that you didn't, but you don't have to come back.
Once again, being a cook and a musician, it falls on a similar plane.
Totally.
I can get up and sing a song, and it might not be everybody's song, but I'm putting my heart and soul into it, and I think that's the thing that's missing in today's, up and comers, is everyone has this idea of being on TV or being famous or being a $100,000 a year chef, and it's like, sure, all those things are great, but can you go into your own refrigerator, and like last night, I made the best mac and cheese of my life just taking some leftover, taking some leftover mac and cheese and some bacon bits that we had cooked off because the bacon was too smoky. So we were gonna add it to things, and I put a tablespoon of heavy cream in there and a little extra salt, and I threw it in the microwave and I mixed it up, and I'm like, it's missing something. So I cut up a piece of American cheese and I cut up a piece of provolone and mixed it again and a little more heavy cream and put it in there. And by the time I finished, I was like, sheesh, like, that's delicious. Why can't I get that anywhere in town? And I think
microwave,
that's the thing.
No less.
Microwave
cheese
no less,
is hard.
Well, but I feel like
hard.
It can be, and I think that's the thing, is we are. I consider us all to be craftspeople and to really care about our product. And what you said is exactly what this is about, is about caring, about really, truly caring and not caring what other people think. And I think that's kind of what sets you apart a little bit, is when you're not necessarily worried about criticism, because you're going to get it, but you're more concerned about leading with love. And that wins every time. That has never failed me. It has never failed me.
Yes.
Yeah, and I so agree too. Like without that component, it's never going to be good. And I would say, in order to get there, in a lot of ways too, I think you have to build, your knowledge and your skills, and you have to build at least enough so that you have the confidence, so that you can go like, I am. Putting love into this. Humility, of course, because we always need to learn more, and we always could learn to be more efficient and to be more present and all those things.
Right.
But I mean, I think learning the skills to do that gives you the confidence to enjoy doing what you're doing, because like, yeah, this is, well, far as I've found, this is the best spec I know.
Yeah.
And then you lovingly give it to somebody, and then when they just light up because you've done it in that caring way. Oh, it's no better feeling. I know I'm going to say it every episode. There's no better feeling than that.
No,
than like
true.
As far as in the industry.
And the only thing I want to emphasize on that too is you have to be uncomfortable. You have to push yourself outside your comfort zone to really know and attain that feeling of knowing that you might work, you might not. And I mean, I could have ulcers, and I don't, thankfully, but I could have ulcers, and how much I worry about how it's going to go and what's going to happen, especially when we started all this. I mean, doing barbecue in the Pacific Northwest is not something that people did back in the early 2000s. I mean, it was a newer thing. And but I had to have the faith that I knew, at least in myself, that I knew enough about what I was doing to get people to show up. And once people started showing up, the nerves started ending a little more, or less and less. But still, like, to this day, there's certain things that I do where I'm like, I hope people like it. And there's a little nervousness. And I think that's a part of it too, is you have to push yourself outside your comfort zone. And you can't necessarily feel like everything's going to go your way, or that should go your way because of your practice and your confidence, but to know that you gotta work around it sometimes, and you gotta make yourself uncomfortable to feel comfortable and to feel good about it at the end of the day.
Well, speaking of uncomfortable, I want to have another shot and talk a little bit more about the health department.
Let's do it.
God.
This could end the episode right here.
Yeah, I think this will be...
Always ends with Fernet, right?
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Could that in the health department. Well, that's going to end it right there.
I got these little baby Fernet glasses. I don't know if you can see them, but we're pouring 1 ounce shots, FYI. It's ounce and a half all the way to the brim. I mean, it has to be all the way up to the brim, which is kind of funny. And I will mention too, again, as far as bartending goes, I know it gets a little bit weird, especially if you go to Canada, but man, ounce and a half. Can everybody just pour an ounce and a half for a shot, please? That's just what it should be.
Fair.
You start going ounce and a quarter on me, or an ounce. No, I'm sorry. You're not a real bar. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't find that happens too often. Normally it's more.
Around here.
Yeah.
Well, that's for another episode. Let's talk about that. That'll be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll interview one of the bartenders from the Hong Kong.
Yeah, right.
Oh my. Yeah. I got a story on that one.
Don't worry, they're never gonna watch this.
Okay, first of all, I have to say that we never really talked about Fernet, except for it's the bartender's drink.
Good point.
I think that we should. It's a lot of people aren't going to know
Gina?
what Fernet is.
Give us something.
So I'm in a play right now, which, oh my gosh, can you even believe it? So I was at rehearsal last night, and somebody was talking to me about the show. And they're like, ooh, what are you going to do next for your next drink? I'm like, well, we're going to just have beers and Fernet, so we're not making a drink. And they were like, what's Fernet? They had no idea. So I had to talk about, I think, and here's where I'm like, oh my gosh.
Just do it. You got it.
I think it's considered an Amaro.
It is.
I would say so.
And I'm like, I'm now going, oh my gosh, here is this. So basically, I just told them that, Amaros are Italian, normally, and that they are very herbal, and that some people, like you either love them or hate them, but there definitely can be an acquired taste. And Fernet definitely is one of those things that they have. Sometimes they have a lot of licorice. They're normally really dark in color, a little bit more, what's the word? There's a little bit more viscosity to them, a little bit more thickness to them than, just like a shot of vodka or something like that. And that they can be used as an aperitif or a digestif. And that's really, really super popular in Italy and some European countries. But yeah, whenever I've gone out, I've gone traveling, if I want to meet people or want to meet bartenders, I always order Fernet, and almost always get them talking to me. Awesome. More so than they were before. They're a little bit more interested. Oh, where are you from? What's going on? Like, you're drinking Fernet? Yes, I am. And and it's just a thing, but it's almost like a calling card, like, I'm in the business.
No, that's great. I think you put that together really well. And I think it's an interesting thing that there's such it's a big world of Amari, so many different ones. I want to go to New York, and I want to go to Amari Amargo, Southern Teague's bar. And he doesn't have mixers of any kind, like no juice, no nothing. But he makes all these different cocktails out of just spirits. So he has more than Amaro, but I think...
Wait, what? Who's this and where?
Southern Teague, who is, like, arguably the most unique name I think I've ever heard. I don't know if there's any other Southern Teagues. He does the podcast with Damon Bolte.
First and last name?
And Souther is one word, and Teague is second. And if I had to guess, he's about my age, too, which is crazy to me. Like... as far as being so active in the bar industry, my hat's off to him because he works too. But I want to get there so bad because I think he has the best,
that sounds amazing.
The hugest Amari collection, I should say. And I guess what I was getting at with that is that we carry Montenegro, Ramazzotti. And I think that's it. We just have 3 at
and Fernet
at Union and Fernet. Yes, and we don't carry the Fernet Menta because for whatever reason, some people love to hate on that. I like it, but
I like it too.
Not
everybody does.
It's not my favorite.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, anyway,
it's like a menthol cigarette. Sure. If you're a regular
Marlboro. When I was a smoker, I didn't like those either.
Yeah,
so,
I every once in a while I would be like, this is very refreshing for a cigarette.
We're not pleasing everyone, right?
That's right. Not pleasing everyone. And yeah, right. That's another good segue back to that too. I love that topic of not pleasing everybody. I mean, the fact that we have 3 Amari, 4 Amari, that, and then while people are asking for a Scooby snack or a buttery nipple, and I'm just like, you're not looking at our back bar. You got to read the back bar. I don't have Midori, and I don't have what else is in a Scooby snack, Gina?
I don't know.
And
but
that's
you're talking...
okay. Yeah, thankfully I don't know either.
It's Midori, Malibu.
Oh, Malibu.
And is it pineapple or something? It's been too long. Maybe cream too.
That sounds delicious.
Maybe some cream too. I don't know.
Cream with Midori and...
I'm not 100% on that.
That sounds actually fairly awful, but anyway.
I don't know. I'm willing to be corrected on Scooby snacks. Ruh-roh.
The only thing I wanted to mention about Fernet that I think you both maybe know, but there's actually 2 Fernet Brancas.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
There's one that's Spanish, correct?
Nope.
Oh, Italian?
Argentina.
Well, no. That's
Italian. Milan is
Italian. Yeah. And then Argentina. And when I was in Peru, I was fortunate enough to go to Machu Picchu and all that.
We got to talk about that. Sorry.
We will. But
different mountain.
We were at a hotel and I saw a bottle of Fernet Branca behind the bar, and I was like, "Oh my god! Well, I definitely want a shot of that."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so I started sipping, and the bartender immediately came up and he's like, "So you know Fernet?" And I'm like, "I do." And he's like, "Are you a chef?" And I'm like, "I am." And he's like, "So this is the Argentinian version." And I'm like, "I didn't know there was an Argentinian."
Did you taste the difference?
I did. Yes, absolutely.
It is different.
I haven't had it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I will say, And it might have been the coca leaves or the coca tea or whatever, but
right.
You're about
whatever
to say
it was,
exactly what I'm going to agree with you on.
it was not near as bitter. It was much smoother, but it was kind of like a better buzz. Like
you're not saying what I thought you were going to say.
What was
Go
that?
ahead. I was going to say I thought it had a little more cocoa and something else, but softer for sure.
Oh, definitely softer. Yeah, I think I couldn't tell like a huge difference except for the fact that it was much softer than the Italian version, and it was. I mean, I like the buzz better, but that also could have been because I was hanging out in Peru.
Dude,
right?
Different atmosphere.
Yeah.
We'll give you a
little
different
bit more
buzz.
spiritual. Everything just feels
And the
better.
fact that I was bringing back my high school Spanish to talk to this guy at the bar was pretty cool too.
I love it.
Yeah, it was
Oh my
awesome.
gosh, yeah, I can't wait to have that conversation.
No,
with you.
I've got pictures, plenty of
Oh
pictures.
my gosh,
Yeah,
that's on my bucket list.
Sweet.
Machu Picchu for sure.
it's worth it. Let me just tell you that.
Yes.
All right,
Okay.
sweet.
So health department.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. Yeah.
Damn, do we really have to go back to that?
No, we don't
should
have
be
to.
fine.
I was
No,
about
we
to
do.
wrap up. You think
No,
so?
Well, because
you
that's
it's
what
your
you want
show.
to talk about.
show.
Okay. Well, let's wrap up with this topic anyway. Just
Maybe it'll just be a good segue for me coming back.
and that's right. And we want to do Neil Stuchal number 2. Wait, that sounds terrible.
It's all right. It's fine.
Sorry, that's the worst. I'm a 14-and-a-half-year-old
It's okay.
humorist. So
I haven't noticed that at all.
I said that we were,
no, really.
I said I
Big
was eating
surprise.
dicks with her son, dude. I mean, come on. It's going to be just fine.
No, that's right. I get the feeling that like it's almost like the health department and I'll talk about the C word. During the lockdowns, we were getting hammered by both the liquor board and the health department saying like, if you don't do this and don't do that, no, blah. Well, if you even open, like we're going to come after you, and we're the cops. We are the police, which just seemed totally inappropriate. But sometime during that thing, the liquor board
Switched.
softened and acted more like the health department used to.
Yeah.
They used to be real easygoing for the most part, and the health department went completely the other way. And they're like, "We are a militant person who is actually coming in here, and we're gonna, knock your
Well, that
blah
makes
blah blah
sense
blah
to
blah
me.
blah."
All I can say is this. I truly believe that when the health department started getting more militant is they were hiring a bunch of people that had never worked in a restaurant before. And they have a 260-page code book that they all have to read and, I'm guessing, memorize to go out and do things. And so what we got, at the end of it all, what we got was a bunch of people that never worked in a restaurant and they didn't know how it worked and said, well, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, and you need variances on this and blah, blah, blah. And all that really told me was everyone's inexperienced. Because when I started in this industry in Washington State, so that's 1996, the health department always came through and came in as, we want to educate. We want to make sure people are doing things the right way. And I think that's what the liquor board's doing now.
Totally.
Which they learned a great lesson from the health department. But I think the inexperience of the health department, they don't understand that that's their job. And I think that's any regulation, the police, anyone, it's their job to educate people on what's right and what's wrong, right? Mm-hmm. Now, there's so much gray matter in everything we do that you really can't.
Gray areas. Gray matters your brain.
Sorry, yeah, gray areas in what we do, and there are laws and regulations where some people say it's okay and some people isn't. That it's really confusing, and I think that's the world we live in now. Is because I had a health department inspection a year ago that made us have to refigure how we do things and come up with variances and write recipes to them to make sure that they knew that we were using the right salt per. I can't remember what it was, but
pH levels
and all that stuff. And I was like, I got it from a recipe book. Like that's where I got my recipe from.
A recipe book that probably a lot of people have eaten from.
Right. Oh, and 10 years. So yeah, like people never had a problem with it.
Right.
But now they do. And I think that's the inexperience. Where now the liquor board has realized that educating people is the smartest thing you can do. Because, I mean, that goes with life.
They got slapped a little bit. Go ahead.
Sure, but I feel like that's the tune that's changed, and I hope the health department gets back to that. again, where
That'd be great.
when they're really just like, I want to educate you on how you can do what you want to do and do it the right way versus basically just trying to get money off of you and pay money for variances that they don't even understand because they don't understand. Like when I sent them a description of how we did our corned beef and how we did our pastrami, which is a 2-week curing process and all that stuff, and they didn't even care about that. They just wanted to know that the count of salt that was going into it was gonna not permeate more or permeate less than, it's the science stuff that I can't even, I don't have a chemistry degree, so I can't say, but I can say is I can follow a recipe and it works just fine.
Right.
The thing that worries me, unless you were going to say something.
Please.
Sorry. The thing that worries me is that when I talk to them or when I give any pushback to the health department agent,
right,
and we could even talk about how it varies from agent to agent that you're dealing with, or what are they called? Are they agents? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, it varies. Like it's their interpretation a lot of time when they come in. And
I'm 2 shots and 2 beers.
I don't know.
Sorry.
Agent sounds good.
Agent is fine. Yes, that works.
All right, but oftentimes they're interpreting what you're doing the way that they see it. It is an interpretation thing. Sure. And so the one, like recently, the one person I was dealing with was saying, about these pickled eggs, and that the reason why it can only, once you open something, the new rule, it's new, it's genuinely new. And I was like, when did this start? She was like, oh, it's been around for a long time. And I'm like, no, it hasn't. I've been in this business a long time. When you open something, you have to date it and throw it away in 7 days.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's
anything.
Ridiculous.
Pickles.
What?
Yes. It's on. That's what's in the laws.
Well, this goes back to making it.
Who made those laws? And it, not only idiot proof, but I want to say she said to me, like, well, we have to be careful about immunocompromised people, and I'm like, they might need to stay home if they can't handle something that's been open for 7 days. I mean,
and check their fridge. I know personally that I've eaten stuff out of my fridge that's been there for 8-9 days.
Dude, I'm a proud Filipino style eater. I will eat something that many white people will not touch.
I appreciate
I'm into
that.
it. I'm into it.
Oh my gosh.
I know Gina wants to cancel me all the time when I say stuff like that.
No.
But all my Filipino friends that I grew up with in Southern California, like I'd spend the night at their house and I'd be like raiding their refrigerator and stuff, and I'm like, lumpia, heck yes. And then they'd be like, dude, don't touch that. You can't eat that. Like that's been in there for like 2 weeks. And I'm like, microwaved, totally eating it.
Right.
And I turned out all right.
Well, that's questionable.
I'll take that. That. So the 7-day rule, I think, is crazy, and the idea that the idea that the health department's going to go the other way, which it kind of dovetails right back into what you were saying before, that it's almost like they're trying to corner all the mom and pop places, all the small businesses, into just buying everything packaged from Cisco, everything packaged from U.S. Foods,
sure.
packaged, safe, so safe
yeah.
that we've lost flavor, and we've lost craft, which is heartbreaking.
And passion.
And real health.
I'm sorry, health.
Personality and all of those things.
You know what? That's a great point, Gina, too. Like, how healthy is this pre-packaged
it's not.
stuff?
It's all chemical. Mm-hmm. Like, it's gross.
Yeah.
And it's not. Yeah.
Whole Foods is the way to go.
Yeah. Actually prepared food.
Yeah.
Man, breaks my heart.
Well,
anyway, we're getting close. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you wrap it up whenever you're ready. I will have points on anything we have to say from here on out, because we're not talking about booze, we're talking about food. And this is,
right.
That's my area. That's what I do.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate you guys having me on today. It feels like a breath of fresh air to say some things that maybe I never thought I was going to say before. So, and feel free to edit whatever you want. But
oh my gosh,
I feel like I went on a couple rants that might not be appropriate, but whatever.
No, everything you said was appropriate, and
super appropriate.
It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
COVID did a lot of weird things to the industry, some good, some bad, and I think that the health department is feeling the strain, from people who are like, you got to make sure that you know, what's legal and out there is healthy for everyone. And
before we go, I just want to say one thing, because the last health department review we had, or the last health department inspection we had, was from a guy that we've known through the valley.
Good dude.
Mr. Matt. Mr. Matt's a fucking good guy. He's owned restaurants. He's done it before.
Nice.
And when he came through, I was like, hey, you know, I'm really curious on your take on these last couple inspections we've got. And he's like, you know, they're heavy with the pencil. That's because they're young. That's what he said. And but I think that's...
I might have to edit that out just to keep him safe.
Okay, sure. That's fine. Well, if you want to, that's fine. But
I'm just going to bleep it out. It'll be like, bleep.
Yeah, right.
It'll be good.
But he said, he goes, you know, I it's a shame that you guys quit making your own bacon. It's a shame you guys quit, you know, doing all that stuff. And I said, you know, the thing of it is like nobody's really noticed. And I think that's another... speaks volumes.
Sure.
Right?
That's
and
tough.
now I, as a crafts person, it hurts my ego. It does, to say that we're not doing it anymore. But also at the same time, the amount of work that we don't have to do anymore is tremendous. And it's like, well, we're all kind of going, well, if it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. You just don't want to fly down that slippery slope.
It's not that people didn't notice, but a lot of people don't want to say anything.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And with Dad's, it's like, it's such a great place and so many people love you guys.
The personality makes up for it.
And yes, and also your food's good regardless, right? Even the small changes that you have made haven't made the whole place.
No, it didn't.
Like, oh, well, they changed this, so I can't. No. But, you know, I'm sure it was noticed. It just wasn't enough to make people stop coming there. And it was also just maybe people don't want to say anything. They don't want to be like,
no, I would expect
listen
more,
up, you know?
Just truthfully with our business and how Fletcher is, you know, we expect people to communicate with us if there's something not right. And
yeah, you guys.
I mean, I know people have said things, but it's not like they're not coming back. And I think that's the point is, they know that we're doing our best. And I you know, congratulations to all of you out there just doing your best, because that's really what it matters.
Yes.
We're all doing our best here. So thanks for watching.
Thank you. Good job. Thanks for watching, everybody. We're going to do a number 2 video, at some point, or an interview with Neil, and he's going to tell us about how he went back to churning his own butter. It's going to be super, super rad. He makes these butter burgers that are really good. And when he churns it himself, man, they are something. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.
Cheers.
Thanks so much to Jay Ryan at Parts Counter Gurus for helping us out on this. And anything technical that doesn't look great, that's my fault. It's not his. That's for sure. Good.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, sure.
I mean, you know, why not?
Sure.
All right.